Since Mario's debut back in 1981, he's appeared in a lot of games. For the spin-offs, there's almost too many to count. And in the main lines, well, there's around 20-ish, or so Jan Nasali thinks. And well, me pensama ni. And lots of these get a ton of coverage here on YouTube. You got your Odysseys, your Mario Karts, all raking in millions of views. Even relics like Mario Galaxy get a view or two. But there's some that somehow are even harder than Galaxy for most people to actually say anything interesting about. And I think for the most part, that's what explains this drought around them. Lots of hardcore Nintendo fans even go without knowing what the gameplay is like, or even just the existence of the game at all. I'd like to introduce you to a Mario game that you probably at least don't know all that much about. Just recently, Nintendo announced one of their most revolutionary ideas. A game that would reach far beyond the confines of plumber normality, that would solidify Mario's place as an icon of gamerism, and that would absolutely rocket Nintendo's stock price to the moon. Diamond hands, everyone. It's Hello Mario for iOS, Android, and the Nintendo family of systems. Okay, jokes aside, it's a game for toddlers. Part of the My Mario initiative, described as a collection of products, games, and experiences inspired by Mario and his Mushroom Kingdom friends, and designed for young children and their parents. Now, I might sound like I haven't quite finished puberty, but contrary to popular belief, I'm actually 22. So why am I, a grown-ass man, playing a game for toddlers? And why should you, realistically probably a grown-ass man according to my channel's stats, be playing a game for toddlers? Well, hear me out. When the game first starts off, all you're presented with is an open screen, with just Mario's cap sticking up from below. Naturally, you yank it up, only to get rewarded by Kevin Afghani's very best.
It's me, Mario!
And it is a him, Mario. This is essentially the game's equivalent of paragliding off the Great Plateau. We got the whole world now at our fingertips, and the possibilities are endless. Immediately, the core gameplay is obvious. You get your fingers up in Mario's face and wiggle him around. And to be honest, I think Mario enjoys it even more than I do. This is genuinely a really cool nod to the Mario 64 title screen. Both the N64 and DS versions kind of felt awful to control. The N64 was clunky and rigid, and the DS version just kind of felt watery? But this one genuinely feels good to control. When you move Mario a certain way, he does exactly what he's told, like the good Italian he is. There's more things to actually grab here than in the 64. You can grab Mario's hat, eyebrows, mustache, nose, cheeks, chin, and just his face in general. Anytime you stretch his cheeks, he plays a number of different voice lines of his usual catchphrases. But the cool thing is that the sound that plays actually changes depending on how stretched out his cheeks are.
Hey. Oh yeah! Mario number one! Oh yeah! Oh, Mario number one!
Which is just such a charming detail. Besides aggressive dilation of Mario's holes, you can also aggressively tap certain parts of him. You can make his hat fall off, revealing a luscious head of hair. Or tapping his nose, you can make him sneeze, which causes a number of strange things to happen. Sometimes it changes his mustache style, and there's even a small chance of it looking like Wario's. If you tap his mouth, he has a random chance of playing with his mouth, whistling, or sometimes even blowing you a sloppy one, which is only the second most uncomfortable Mario's made me feel after 64 DS. But enough being flirted with, cause next is where it gets interesting. If you look up at the top left, we get to see a toolbar of all the amazing features this game has to offer. Mario, question block, mushroom, star, pipe, blooper, cheep cheep, note block, and toad. Now the Mario icon being the first one is interesting, especially next to a bunch of items. What I was hoping for originally was the ability to spawn extra Mario and have a Mario party. But no, it's just peekaboo. Yeah, you can tap on him to play peekaboo, or you can swipe his hands away. But it's not over just yet, because if you're lucky, you just might get a spooky game of peekaboo with a boo. You play the game as normal, but be careful not to let the boo get too close, otherwise something horrible might happen. It comes back later, don't worry. And onto the question block. It's exactly what it sounds like. You click it, it spawns a block, and coins come out. Now you can tap the block, or you could stretch Mario's face to rubber band into the block. The reward for collecting all the coins? Nothing, but the satisfaction of being wealthy. Except for sometimes where, if you're lucky, you'll be rewarded with a power-up. Of the next set of items on our list, first off it's the mushroom. But this one is actually surprisingly fun, because once it spawns in and you drag it onto Mario's mouth, he fills up basically the entire screen. But you know how in Supermassive Galaxy you got those big-ass Goomba and they do a satisfying squishy bounce when you whack them? That's basically the vibe here, except this one you can basically do as much as you like. And it's actually surprisingly satisfying to watch him wobble. The star is activated in the same way, and it pretty much looks like it's useless. There's no enemies to really knock out here. But then you realize you can fling them and enter bubble mode. Bubbles just kind of come out of nowhere, and some of them got enemies. If you don't have the star, the bombs can kind of be inconvenient, but the star helps you knock out about 50 bubbles without too much hassle. And then it runs out. So what happens if you keep going in this bubble minigame? Well, it keeps on going till 100, and then you're presented with this massive finale bubble. What could happen after we pop this? Maybe we unlock a secret game mode. Maybe a free switch too. Nope, he just says pop-tastic. Great, so what's next? Pipe. Once you select this, a new pipe pops up. After you forcibly shove Mario down it, 3 new ones show up. Only one contains Mario though, and it's up for you to guess. And if you guess wrong, you'll be shown the enemy's name. There's also a chance for a cannon pipe to show up, which just takes you to bubble mode again. Next is the blooper, who splooges all over Mario's face. And then there's the Cheep Cheep, who's actually the only enemy who can actually damage Mario, making him into Mini Mario. I thought you couldn't kill him once he's in mini mode, but you actually kinda can with the Bob-omb. The Note Block, this one just changes the theme. You can rotate between the void, underwater, and enemy pattern. Each of these causes Mario to break into a beautiful serenade. And last but not least, we have Toad, who has a camera. And this one feature makes this game so much better. You can immortalize all your moments of greatness, and Mario in all of his glory. Here are some of my favorites. And then, just when you think you've explored all this game has to offer, you notice that, with a yawn, Mario starts to look a bit more tired than usual. The music begins to fade. The background shifts to a night sky, and then we hear a beautiful cover of Piranha Plant's Lullaby. You watch as Mario seems to drift further and further, and try as you will to wake him, it just won't do. His eyelids finally close as he drifts off to sleep. You watch him slowly descend towards the exact spot you originally lifted him from. There's nothing you can do but just sit and watch. And then, all that's left to see is just Mario's cap, sticking out from the bottom of your screen. And with your new friend gone for good, you have no other choice but to exit the game entirely. Well, bye for now.